Hey everybody, Strange103 here, today with another replay analysis, one that I've kind of been looking to basically go through for a while, but haven't really actually gotten the chance to. Finally looking for it now, and looks like parts of the replay broke, because it's telling me there's a cyclone. Okay, interesting. But regardless, this is... Michaurian. God damn it. Reading's difficult. With someone we actually saw earlier. Life Action was someone I casted earlier as well, so nice to see a recurring name there. But we've got a Yuugumo division, and the thing about triple destroyer divisions is that a lot of people don't really enjoy the concept of it, because usually you stack up into one cap, and people are like, why you not contest all caps? No, destroyers! But in all fairness, it's actually a very good thing that you do contest all the caps, because one single cap, because it means in a matchmaking like this with Fletchers, you catch one of them off guard and spam a gazillion torpedoes into his smoke, force him out of it, or perhaps even just apply mass one and kill it. That'd be kind of nice. But yeah, there's going to be a little bit of reading coming up while we're waiting for something to happen. Title of it, Gunboat Yuugumo Div, showcasing the importance of dancing around and power of IGN guns when underestimated. And that's one thing, a lot of people don't really, treat these guns with the respect that they deserve. Now, Lifer has survivability expert, our other div mate is stock hull, and we don't have SE, but we're on top hull at least, so we'll see. We don't have the AFT, like I think I've got AFT on it, which is hilarious, because you get like 15k range or something, it's pretty silly, but yeah. To give a general battle description from the email, our team has a very interesting idea to push C while all of its destroyers are A with a single Błyskawica we now see capping Bravo. The first 10 minutes are pretty generic in terms of play, at least in my part, just casual farming. My mistake here could have been not keep track all the time of my div mate and their current engagement and position, especially considering he's playing with Torpedo Reload Booster and the very valuable RPF, and he's the guy with the stock hull, which can be a bit unfortunate if he gets caught out. Probably in a competitive setup, I would focus on extracting him out, especially as we both have the terrible habit of having a island well grown in our face because we're radar bitches, which in my opinion is one of the worst things a destroyer can do, being chased by two cruisers. Yes, it is. We've got the cap. Edlon's actually pushing in really, really ham. Fletcher shows up. It's I'm pretty sure it's our div mate that spots him, but now that we're definitely spotted by it, there's no real reason for us not to really engage. Looks like they're focusing on shooting at our div mate, Life and Analyse, which is kind of fine overall, because he's got a little bit more health to give than us. He's just fallen underneath us, and he's lost a fair chunk already. And this Fletcher, having been blatted by Edinlol and then shot to death by destroyers, is probably not feeling too well about himself. I wouldn't be shooting there. I would, because these guys aren't actually, planning on engaging us. It's, I probably would just try to close the distance and give them some skill, because we're running the 12k torpedoes, which are generally considered to be the best torpedoes. I mean, if you really want a ridiculous setup, go with F3s, but 12k torps are very solid overall. Using our engine boost, I mean, 9 kilometers to Ignite now, like, he can hit us pretty hard, but 10k, like 9k from an Iowa now, that's not really where you want to be in a destroyer, because US dispersions, if he gets lucky, it's actually really good to delete us as we pick up 3 fires, because RNG... That's actually... Really now? 4? I mean, it's only Gneiss now, but still. The important thing there is that the Iowa is not going to feel comfortable damage control potting, and I definitely would have sent some fish at the most volleyball right now, because she definitely would have been forced to damage control party, because torpedoes plus 3 fires, you don't want to have that on ya. So, and I mean, none of them are interested in pointing at us right now. And there you go. Looks like torping at the Iowa is a bit of a risky ordeal, because the Edinlol is heading that direction, and I wouldn't take it for granted that he's gonna die, because Edinlol armor can be a bit troll, but in this case it doesn't work out for him. But he at least gets fish in the water. Now, I would definitely stop shooting there, because Iowa is almost certainly going to point in our direction right now. Why? Because, well, he just blew up our Edinlol, and it's either going to be us or Life or Ericsson, but, Ericsson spotted, because, he's shooting as well, so I guess we're fine just to continue plinking right now. I mean, if we can finish this Iowa, that'd be really nice. Now, I would continue to shoot the Iowa just because, a chance for more damage. And we don't actually have priority targets, so we actually track inbound shells from the Iowa, which we should definitely do our best to evade, or at least, fully in-turn. We could have, if we were paying full attention there, we could have stopped and dropped and also evaded them, but now without AFT, we're not going to be able to continue to blink. I mean, I have, so I would be continuing to blink, but guessing, judging by the amount of fires we've stacked up, I'm guessing we have, what's its face again? Demo expert, otherwise we wouldn't be placing this many bloody fires on people. But looks like most volleyball's gonna get away. So yeah, continuing to read the email as we play the Knives now. Around the 11 to 12 minute mark, we make a decision, which in hindsight was a terrible misplay. I torpedo in the direction of the Iowa, not actually expecting to hit her, and then having a quick glance at our health pool we split with Lifer, I'm going to finish off the heavily wounded Baguette, which is going to pull me out of the battle for tens of valuable seconds, and he's handling the Iowa to make sure she goes down. So yeah, we'll see, but unfortunately the Iowa does actually get away. I mean, we would have needed to get rather lucky with fire RNG to pick the kill. Looks like this Knife now's going to have a bad time with more torpedoes. Let's see, Lifer Ericsson hasn't actually lost too much health. We've still got B, the team's fumbling around on C, but there's nothing we can do about that. We need to secure this flank at least before we can head over and do something about the other side of the map. Looks... double fire. Wow, We must be running full stack. Yeah, we're running a pretty nice stack there, and the Gleisner actually gets away with that, which is a bit unfortunate. Let's see. Looks like our Myoko that's now pushing into B for some reason. He should be kiting. I mean, that's kind of what the Myoko's better at. He's kind of making a funky move. Continuing to focus down the Knives now. Overall, not a bad decision, but he's getting kind of out of range, and now it's time to deal with the Duke of York. This is the last shot we can safely fire from within this smoke. Now it's time to get on his flank and get some torpedoes off. I would not... Oh, never mind. It's just a... Oh, never mind. The smoke was placed in that direction, but we get away with it until we shoot now, so we're probably going to be taking some attention. But, I mean, he obviously knows we're here because we shot at him from inside the smoke, but if we paid attention, we would have noticed that the rest of our div that were actually close here were in the smoke screens, so we bleed a little bit more health at this point, and considering the fact that they still have Destroyers alive, they still have a Blyotfust alive, I wouldn't really want to overbleed health. Regardless, Duke of York is now probably a lot more worried about the Destroyer that's in his face, but it looks like Lifer is pushing out of the smoke screen really, unfortunately, in our path, which means that there is absolutely no point whatsoever in us torpedoing here, because any torpedo we launch is, one, either going to blow up our div mate, who is probably going to bleed a lot of health now. No, he didn't bleed too much. Either that, or he's going to end up bleeding a kind of, maneuverability disability, if you want, due to our torpedoes. Regardless, this smoke is still there, but Algeria is too far out of range actually to spot us, right now. But as we move closer, we're going to get spotted in a couple of seconds because I don't think his smoke's going to last. And there you go. We're now spotted because his smoke is probably expiring at this point. I would push up at this point, try to get a cross torpedo angle, as I actually didn't notice. Our div mate's also gone down now, something that I guess we didn't notice in the actual play either, because he did mention it in the email. Regardless, Baguette coming in, you kind of want to try to catch them off in a cross torpedo pattern, but these two planes could, if we're unlucky, spot the torpedoes, which would be kind of unfortunate. One of them is a Baguette plane, you can see the one that's tier 7, and the other one's, I think, the Duke of York's plane that was circling around for some reason. I don't even remember, it was someone's plane that's circling around. But I'm pretty sure it probably just spotted the torpedoes. I mean, they wouldn't have a chance to hit anyway, because the Baguette made a turn. Now, the thing about the Baguette is that it's a tier 7. What that means is that its standard armor is penetrable by our HE. Pretty easily, actually. So now, we do need someone to spot, so not both, we can not have both of us sitting inside of the smoke screen shooting. Putting a reasonably small smoke screen, but I would make sure that we're angled at least in this kind of a direction, so that if needed, we can extract ourselves around the corner of an island, and if we get lucky, that Eisenhower might take some. I don't think they're really in range. Plus, they're probably spotted, so he's just going to turn away from them when he hears the alarm. I take that statement back. We actually get the kill, and it looks like we also pick up the Arsonist, which is really quite nice. But Baguette almost certainly sends a fish our way, and he's even trying to... I'm guessing he's shooting at something in the background. I mean, maybe try to hit the Scharnhorst. I don't know. I don't know. It's just me joking about with it. But probably going to put torpedoes inbound, and we trigger our last engine boost. Right now, we're not using, Oh, what was it again? We're not using full premium consumables here, so we do have Superintendent because we had 3 charges of them, I'm pretty sure. Regardless, put a fire on the baguette, but we do need to kind of get rid of this guy, that's the problem. And I'm guessing Lifer's running F3s. But we need to get rid of the guy, because we can't just leave him there behind us to back cap all our stuff, you know, take it away from us, you know, what we've gained. So, someone needs to kill him. But, on the other hand, we also need to start getting in positions up here and deal with the rest of their stuff, because we really can't just, you know, not, you know, defend as well. Because we might be points advantage. However, these are tier 7 battleships. They still have an Iowa and an Amagi, which these guys would have to spam HE at. This thing's horrible at spamming HE. This thing's accuracy isn't really good. Which means that these 2 guys, despite the Iowa previously having been really, really low on HP, and they still have their rune alive, we've got nothing. You know, there is a really, really big chance we could find ourselves losing this. So personally, I would have pushed into the baguette and gotten rid of it, because look at that low HP. We just need to shoot it like once or twice. Fletcher deletes our KGV, so that's even worse news for us. Torping at most volleyball, I mean, Whisk is probably dealing with that right now, but we also have the kind of problematic issue of, well, they still have 2 destroyers left. And you can see that, they're capping Bravo. In the meantime, we're kind of faffing around over here, not really achieving too much. Now, one of us, like I said, needs to kill this baguette, and it looks like Lifer's going to go deal with the Iowa because we just launched our torpedoes. I'd be waiting for this guy seems to be coming a little bit closer, so I would not have opened fire here, because he's just going to start turning away and gaining distance on us, unless, of course, we're confident in our ability to kill that, and it seems like, ooh, can we get a double strike here? Can we get a greedy double strike? No, we can't, because RNG screws us. But I would have tried to let the guy get a little bit closer, just so we can actually secure, you know, a chance, because he might have been thinking of pushing in towards us, but the moment we opened fire, and with him being so low HP, he makes the right move and starts advancing rapidly in the opposite direction. So yeah, looking at the chat, the email again, let me just see, I went for the alternate because in my case, I could tank the shots, Lifer would still be in shape to do this, but in case of bad luck, he would end up with really, really low health, correct? Lifer unfortunately gets spotted because of concealment penalty for shooting at BB61 most volleyball, as it turned out unnecessarily because she ate my torpedoes, and found herself in a very unfavorable position against the enemy Fletcher and Rune, who just arrived from killing the other side of the map and ended up dying to Fletcher torpedoes, so I guess a little bit of spoiler there. Now, we did bleed some time to kill this baguette, perhaps unnecessarily, and there you go, the Fletcher torpedoes just knocked out our last div mate, so we're in a really, really bad situation right now. Solar Warrior, PogChamp. However, and that's the thing, ooh, and that tells us that there is a Yuugumo, or Fletcher, in a position to spot us right now. But we know the Fletcher was in B, we also know the Yuugumo is somewhere around there. So chances are, and we take a bit of a blind launch towards the their side of the map right now. And, ooh, they might actually clip the rune if we get a spot of luck. But the thing we need to keep in mind now is that they're going to be pushing towards this direction and up against this, because he's the remaining teammate we have. So we need to try to get in this direction, and we know that someone deleted his friend, the KGV. So we're probably going to need to look for some islands to take an engagement with the Fletcher or Yuugumo. Now, we're in a pretty reasonable gunboat spec here. We have really good guns, so if we get the first shot off, and remember, something I do say about IGN destroyers is, let me... Oh, there we go. If I can get a little bit closer, is that the kind of profile at like 6-7 kilometers range, shells are coming in for like this kind of an angle, right? So basically, this is no damage zone, this is no damage zone, this is absolutely tiny, and this is not that big either. And if we're kind of angled out like this, this is no damage zone, this is no damage zone, this is no damage zone, that's no damage zone, because they're the torpedo tubes, right? So it's just this area here that's actual damage zone. There are parts of our ship that are basically no damage zones, because, you know, it's going to be a full absorb. So something to keep in mind when you're engaging an IJ and destroyer, if they're running away from you, they act, and you're in a Fletcher, for example, and you only have 2 guns to the front, or even if you angle into engage, which means you again have a smaller, you know, less portion of your ship is no damage zone at the front as well, so, you know, do keep this in mind when you do engage. I probably at this point would be, there you go, 1 set at the Rune, and looks like we're going to send the other set at the Amagi. Amagi is, I don't know, but you can see that the island here is kind of preventing the Amagi from, well, he's either going to have to go around it right now, in which case he can't fully utilize her firepower. Let me see if I can zoom in the sights, and see if I can actually... Oh, Wargaming. Yeah, you see, the Armageddon's guns are facing to starboard, which means that if she turned this way, she'd have to, go went in this direction. She'd have to engage fully with only 2 gun turrets to be able to do anything reasonably useful. Regardless, we completely missed the rune. Plane may have had something to do with that, and looks like we're also going to completely miss the Armageddon, and the fact that we're still in the cap circle, something I kind of would have wanted to get out of. Basically tells them that we're in this kind of an area, and the rune knows that we've got a 5.5 concealment, so there's really not much area we could be in. It's really just here or up here. But yeah, continue to read the email. From that point on, I had absolutely no idea if any of my actions were correct. I'm completely lost. Maybe dragging them all to A cap was a bad decision, but then again, if they play the objective, they would go for the cap anyways. Absolutely correct. We spot the Fletcher now, and our Sean horse goes down, so this is basically it for the game for us. This is pretty much guaranteed loss. We even get ourselves detected now. No additional engine boost, so nothing to do but to open fire. Let's see. Maybe rushing the rune was more successful. I still had 1 smoke screen to use, but he could have Hydra, so that's not really going to get as far. Then I'd need to gamble surviving Fletcher Torps and deal with the very hard Yuugumo counter. I feel like most people, well, the torpedo salvos from now on were extremely poorly aimed as well, and you can argue here the other, but let's face it, this game was lost. That's way too much health on the Armageddon, way too much health on the rune, and we still have to deal with 2 destroyers, so we pretty much would have needed the gamble on complete luck. That torpedo salvo is kind of pointless, because, especially if we're going to leave the smoke screen right now. Because the reason for that is because, and if we shoot now, we're definitely not going to get anything, because the thing about this is that we get ourselves spotted right now, well, we're going to get shot at, and if we die, the game instantly ends, and the torpedoes aren't even going to get anywhere. So yeah, well, I have at least a few ideas of how the unfortunate most volleyball could be engaged differently. For those that don't know contact collection, that's referring to Iowa. Or, BB hull numbers, BB61 is Iowa. Or if she needed to be engaged at all, the loss of wingman put me at pressure, which ended up being crushing. I'm not able to make much sense of the endgame play. If by the endgame play you mean, when it was 2 versus 4, it pretty much was already kind of over at that point, and there's not much you really could have done to win the game. Simply because the enemy team has too much health, and they combined their movements together, so the Fletcher was just in front of the cruisers, the Yuugumo was out there as well somewhere, they killed off the last remaining teammate, and they had the ability just to push into A. Even if we'd gone back to B, they'll just leave 1 destroyer or a cruiser or something to cap A, then they'll come back, they'll cap B, you go to C, you get the point. They'll always have 2 caps, you'll always have 1, you're gonna get bled at and you're gonna lose regardless of what. The only way you could potentially win is if you get lucky enough to just double strike their destroyers and, kill them with a single torpedo salvo, and then have a torpedo hit the rune, you damage control party, you shoot them once and you set 4 fires. In other words, it's not going to happen. I mean, theoretically it could, RNG is there, it could potentially happen, just don't count on it. But, yeah. Earlier in the game, I would have focused on gunning down the Iowa instead of spreading the fires around on the Knights now, because a gun's hitting the superstructure will still do like 200 and something, I think 297 damage per hit against a section superstructure. So, it's still something. We're still doing some damage. And the guy getting away on 8k health is really unfortunate in that sense. And I think life are at F3s, so, it's still like, how can I put it? It's still, like, difficult to do something about this, right? But yeah, in the end, if we kill the Iowa, maybe. But then again, we still have the issue of, I actually didn't pay attention to what our 3rd div mate happened, how he got himself killed. So, maybe something could have been done better there. But at the end of the day, this wasn't up to us to win. It was really up to our battleships to be able to hold on for long enough, and for our team not to kind of do a weird play on C and B. Now we took our I hate to say merry time getting through A, but without real firepower, we can't really get through A. We're kind of just hoping on luck for enemy to suck enough torpedoes and die, which we did. Like the enemy did take enough torpedoes, but we just couldn't pick up the Iowa, which meant that. The Iowa came back to, I wouldn't say haunt us, but at least be able to deal some damage to our division later on throughout the game, and, having a tier 9 battleship alive is still annoying. But even if we had killed the Iowa, and even if we had killed the Baguette earlier, we still would have been an uphill struggle, but at least in this uphill struggle, we would potentially have side torpedo angles against their Armageddon rune and group coming through Bravo, but we'd still likely have to engage the Fletcher and the Yuugumo when they have the firepower support of their team. So chances are we'd still either going to bleed heavily or find ourselves going down. So we'd still need to get incredibly lucky to be able to pull this game through, even at around about the 10-minute mark, despite at that point having a bit of a point advantage, but that advantage only came from the Bravo cap, and realistically speaking, we were disadvantaged because we didn't have the ships remaining to actually fight this. So unfortunately, I'd still say this is just one of those games where you pretty much were stuffed to begin with, and you know, you can try all you want, you just don't really have the chance to win because the enemy teams made the right decisions. But overall, with destroyer divisions, it's always difficult to judge whether you should stick together or split up. In the beginning, I always suggest sticking together and gunning down the same, an enemy destroyer that gets unfortunate enough to run into you, especially when you have a high concealment destroyer division like Yuugumo's with 5.5 compared to 5.8 of the Fletcher. And you still have 6 guns compared to the Fletcher's 5, and the Fletcher can't bring all 5 to bear without showing a really, really bad angle of himself. So yeah, like the opening was solid, but later on I think we should have just pushed the Algerie down and killed it earlier, and also focus on shooting down the Iowa as well, because maybe with that we could have had the chance to get side torpedoes, get a couple of lucky torpedo hits on the destroyers, and we could still have pulled this through. Having a look at the team scores, we topped the scoreboard with Lifer second. Unfortunately, our third teammate didn't seem to get such a nice game and is rather low down on the scoreboard, but the important thing to note is that the Isthmus down there, and this is what I mean, we really didn't have much of a chance to get through this, especially with the Baltimore being on the bottom as well. That's a really, really strong ship. On their team, Fletcher is topping it. He definitely seemed to have a nice game, especially picking up our last teammate there. Meant that he's going to get a good chunk of XP off that. Detailed report screen, let's see. Kenai's now 66k, we pretty much just farmed all of his stuff. 34 on the Iowa, not too bad of a result overall. Definitely think that focusing on him would have been the better thing to do. 3k on the Fletcher on the end, 4,455, which is, by the way, fun fact, a Iowa-Montana full penetration damage. Not so bad on them, but at the end of the day, damage dealt there really wasn't going to matter too much, because the Fletcher that we first shot at, the guy that in the end died, is the one that just got farmed to crap by the entire team, so he was pretty much screwed at that point regardless. Duke of York, not much damage, but the Baguette there, 12k, we could maybe have been able to pick him up earlier on if all of us went and pushed that down, because we can't just leave people behind you. That's never really a good thing, especially Baguette. Those things are fast, and you don't really want them pretty much freely mucking about behind your lines. So yeah, with that, I'm going to have to go ready up for King of the Sea. Perhaps, maybe, if we're lucky, we'll get a live stream from me later on. If not, I guess I'll just have to do another replay cast, because I'm kind of behind on that stuff. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Maybe I'll see you guys on stream, or watch me play KOTS, who knows. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take care.